I thought my marriage was solid. Not perfect, not a fairy tale, but real. My wife Clara and I had been married for 4 years, together for nearly 5. We had history, inside jokes, a life built around routines. Saturday morning pancakes, grocery shopping together, late-night Netflix marathons, where she'd always fall asleep halfway through and I'd pretend not to notice. So when she walked into the living room one Tuesday night and told me she needed a break, I thought I'd misheard her. She stood there in the burgundy sweater I'd bought her for Christmas 2 years ago. She always claimed it was her favorite, but that night she tugged at the sleeves like the fabric itched her skin. "I need a break," she said. Her voice didn't shake. It sounded rehearsed, like she'd practiced it in the mirror. "I need to figure myself out." No contact. No contact. Like our marriage was some college relationship she could just put on pause while she rediscovered herself. I asked her, "What does that even mean?" She avoided my eyes. "It means I need space. No calls, no texts. I'll be at Naomi's." Naomi's her sister. Then she gave me this quick hug, cold and detached, and walked into the bedroom to pack a bag. I sat there frozen, watching her toss clothes into a duffel like she was going on a weekend trip, not walking out on her husband. When the door shut behind her, the silence was deafening. The first week was brutal. I went through all the cliches, lying on the couch in the dark, eating cereal straight out of the box, staring at my phone even though I knew she wouldn't call. I replayed our last conversation over and over. Was there something I'd done? Something I'd missed? Had I been too boring, too predictable, too safe? Andre, my best friend since high school, eventually dragged me out of the house. He shoved a gym bag at me and said, "You're not dying on my watch. Move your ass." So I went. I lifted, I sweated, I tried to shake the fog. It helped, a little. But even as I forced myself to keep moving, I couldn't ignore the gnawing feeling in my gut. Something was off. Clara's words, "no contact," kept echoing in my head. Who says that to their spouse? It sounded like a script, like a line from some self-help forum. Then came the gut punch. Clara's mom, Sylvia, is one of those people who thinks the world revolves around her social media. She posts everything, meals, outfits, family events. About 10 days after Clara left, Sylvia uploaded a whole album of their family trip to Florida. I clicked out of habit. And there she was, Clara, my wife, smiling in a bright yellow sundress I'd never seen before, laughing, tanned, glowing in a way she hadn't looked in months. And next to her, Julian, her high school boyfriend, arms slung casually around her shoulders in one picture. In another, she was practically in his lap at a dinner table. The way she looked at him, it was the exact way she used to look at me back when things were good. I felt like the air got sucked out of the room. 10 days. Just 10 days after she left me to figure herself out, and she was vacationing with her ex. With her family there, smiling and pretending it was all normal. I must have stared at those pictures for an hour. Anger bubbled up, but it wasn't the screaming, throwing things kind of anger. It was cold. Controlled. The kind of anger that makes you think clearly, maybe for the first time. That night, I made a decision. The next morning, I started packing her things. Every coat, every pair of heels, every art supply she'd abandoned in the closet. I wasn't messy about it. I was methodical. 12 boxes in total. I labeled each one, photographed the contents, even kept a spreadsheet. Then I shipped them all to her parents' house, insured with delivery confirmation. Cost me $310, and it felt like money well spent. Then I blocked her. On everything. Phone, email, socials. She wanted no contact? She got it. For the first time in weeks, I felt in control. 3 weeks later, just when I'd started to feel human again, she called from a blocked number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Her voice was trembling, fake sad. "Marcus, I'm ready to talk." "I miss you." "I miss us." And you know what I felt? Nothing. Just calm. "There is no us, Clara," I said. She jumped straight into damage control, swore Julian was just there, that her mom had invited him, that the pictures were taken out of context. She begged me to believe her. Then she slipped. She mentioned another name, Ethan. I hadn't even known about Ethan. Apparently Julian wasn't her only self-discovery. That was all I needed to hear. "I'm not your safety net anymore," I told her and hung up. The next day, her mom, Sylvia, called, furious. "How dare you treat Clara this way? She came home early from the trip because she realized she made a mistake." I asked her one question. Was sitting in Julian's lap part of fixing things? Silence. Then the gaslighting started. That's just their dynamic. You're insecure. I cut her off. She tested the waters. It didn't work. Now she wants Plan B. I'm not Plan B. And I hung up. They didn't stop. Clara started texting me from unknown numbers. Guilt trips. You're being cruel. This isn't who you are. Then threats. We'll tell people what kind of man you really are. Wrong move, because I had receipts, screenshots of the photos, timestamps from her Florida trip, shipping receipts for her things, even recordings of our calls, perfectly legal in my state. So I dropped everything into a group chat with Clara, her mom, and her dad, Roberto. I said, if you want to tell people the truth, I'll share the actual truth. Your choice. The silence that followed was glorious. Sylvia sputtered about recordings being illegal. Clara begged me to meet in person. Roberto, who I'd always respected, finally texted, "Son, nobody wants this to get ugly." "It's already ugly," I replied. "And I'm done." Just when I thought it was over, a certified letter arrived. Clara's lawyer was demanding $6,000 for emotional distress and shared assets. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. Shared assets? Clara had never paid rent, never contributed to the bills. Emotional distress? She caused it. I handed it all to my buddy Harold, a family lawyer. He dismantled their claim point by point and attached my evidence. 2 days later, the law firm dropped Clara as a client. That was the nail in the coffin. Word spread quickly. People saw the Florida photos. They heard both sides. And suddenly I wasn't the villain in Clara's sob story. I was the guy who finally had enough. Her reputation tanked. Even Julian dumped her when he realized she wasn't divorced. Turns out being someone's midlife trial run loses its charm when the truth comes out. Meanwhile, my life started looking up. I fixed up my apartment, got back in shape, even started dating again. That's how I met Melissa. She's stable, kind, and nothing like Clara. The final bit of closure came from my neighbor, Mrs. Henderson. She'd seen Clara and Sylvia screaming at me in the hallway weeks earlier. One afternoon, she patted my arm and said, "Good riddance to that circus, dear. You deserve so much better." She was right. Clara thought I'd always be there, waiting while she tested the waters with her ex. She thought I'd swallow the lies, the manipulation, the guilt trips. But she was wrong. Sometimes the best thing someone can do is show you exactly who they are. And once you see it clearly, you don't stick around hoping they'll change. You pack their boxes, you block their number, and you move on. Because life is way too short to be somebody's backup plan. Thanks for watching.